Hello everyone and welcome back to Jacqs. Thanks for joining me today for part 3 in my Faux Denim Shorts Gatefold mini album. This is a Country Craft Creations design team project and I'm excited to share with you the final reveal of the album as well as provide the last part of the tutorial. So let's get started. So here is our Gatefold mini album. You should be quite familiar with it if you're following along with me, and if you're not, this is a 10 by 7 Gatefold style mini album. It has a 1.5-inch spine on both sides, and I've created a cut file bundle that also includes patterns, so you can make this by hand if you like, but then I also show you how to create all of the design without the cut files and patterns, so don't worry, you won't be left out. So we have our front view of the shorts here. Our pockets are workable, so you can stuff little goodies down in there. We've added some dimensional pieces here on the front. I have a specific playlist for this album. In the first part, in part 1, we go over creating the cover. In part 2, we decorate the cover. In part 3, which is today, we are going to be decorating the inside of the album. On my design, you'll also see that I did some stitching around the elements here on the front. I just love that, seeing as how the theme is shorts. I'm specifically showing you the back because I created a new cut file to go in the bundle, and it is this adorable little cell phone. This is a little bit retro one when you're considering the new models that are out there, but I love it. I used a tag to cut out and put my image in the center, and then we have a nice solid piece on the back. Again, this will be included in my cut file bundle and patterns, and I love that it is just sticking right out of our little pockets. Love this. So let's go inside and check out what we're going to be creating today as part of this album series. So here is a full view. I did mirror some elements on the inside, front, and back covers, but the pages have some designs that are similar and then some that might be slightly different. I used different pattern papers, and then the back part is a mix of all the designs. So really, I only mirrored the inside, front, and back cover. And I must say that this album holds a minimum of 60 photos, and that's a minimum. It has enough room that you could probably put in 10 to 15 more photos. Just all depends on how chunky you like your albums. On the front of this little photo booklet, I did a little bit of collaging with one of the photo mats and one of the tags. You can actually tuck in a photo right there, or memorabilia, whatever you have to go in there. This is a magnetic closure, so this opens up. We have a little sticker here. I love the stickers in this collection. They were fabulous. It had some little bugs in it, and there was this one little worm. I didn't know what to do with this guy, but I think he goes really well with these flowers. So cute. So this opens up, and then we have a 2-page booklet. What's nice about this little border strip here is that you can tuck things right in there if you like, but you can add a photo here and here. Flip this open. We have 2 more areas for photos and tucking. And this last one, you have a photo area here and on this back area. Now, you not only have areas for photos, but you can also add memorabilias, menus, maps, and everything you do in the summertime right here in this one album. It's awesome. So let's just go ahead and look at the right side, since these are similar, so that you can see the difference. There's just minimal differences. I used different Polaroids and tags, added this cute little soda can there. When you open this up, I did add a little postcard to the back of this one. And then I have the same type of border going on in here. And again, you can tuck photos right in there, and added a few little stickers here on the back. Okay, so this album has 6 pages. When you count both sides, you end up with 12 pages front and back. They are pocket pages, and there's an insert in each one that is the same style insert. As you can see here, I did mirror the designs for each of these pages just to be aesthetically pleasing, but I did change up again the pattern papers and solids. So here we have a front little cover. You can do some journaling here. Here is the cute little tag. You could journal on the back here or add a photo. Here's our little pocket. And then this is a pocket back here. I put in 2 of the Polaroids. I think these, let's see what size these are. These are around 3.5 by 4. I love the lemon paper in this collection. So pretty. Oh, and I added a little bug sticker there. Let's just go through all of the pages on the left, and then we'll do all the pages on the right. So we flip the page, and here on the back is where you'll find your inserts. So I did the little beach balls here, added a little easy breezy sticker. This slides out, and then you have room for 3 photos here if you want large photos, or you could do, you know, shorter photos and get 2 on each page, however you want to do that. And the pocket itself is large enough that you could put more than just this one insert in it. On this page, we do have a side pocket, and I just tucked in this 3x4 journaling card. Did add some white cardstock to the back, so you could add a photo there. If you look here on the back, I have a little notch in my page, and it's so that when we add our insert, it will just slide right down in that notch, and it becomes our closure. Now, yes, using a notch in paper is not a novel idea. However, I've never seen anybody use it for actual page designs. So that is the design that I created. This will be part of the cut file and pattern bundle as well. I love this. It turned out super well, and I probably will be doing this again in the future. I show you how to recreate this as well as all of the other elements in this album in the tutorial that's coming up, whether or not you have the cut files. For this page, I used some of these sticker elements, and I put them on artisan denim cardstock, and then used my brother's scan and cut to make an offset for the little Vespa here, as well as the hat, so that I could use those as tuck spots, gluing down only the bottom pieces here. So then my tag comes right out. So when we open this up, you have an area for a photo here, here, and here. This little banner was the perfect piece to go along with this color of cardstock. I just love it. So fun. I added that little bee there. He's adorable. And then I have this sentiment that says, "Rolling into summer." On the back of page 2, we have our insert. Again, I mainly decorate just the front. Added a little sentiment sticker there that says "Staying Cool." And again, you have your areas for photos. For this page, I actually added 2 Polaroids, but I ended up creating my own Polaroid cut file, which is also part of the bundle now. And what I did was I layered it on top of this Polaroid so that you could add your own photo right in there. Of course, you would cut yours down, and you would have the cutout on the front, so you would know exactly what size that you need. You could just glue that on top, or you could tuck it in. So you have 2 ways that you can add your own photo, and then just add a little adhesive here and glue that down, and you are good to go. But I like the idea of having some decoration there now, and I love these adorable little popsicles. So as you see, that just slips right in there. I was going to decorate my notches, but I found that I didn't need to, because even when you take this out, this gets trained and it stays open enough so that you can just slide your insert right in there. Loved it. This is the 3rd page on our left-hand side, and we have a nice little area here. You could actually do some journaling in here. This says "Picnicking, Let's Grill." Thought that was cute to go with these images. And this is a pocket in the back. Here's one of the tags. Bring on the summer. These are two little photo flips. So this flips to the right. This one actually has a pocket cut into the design for one of these little journal cards. And then this flips open to the left. We have an area for photos here, here, and here. Throughout this album, I provided several different ways to create closures without a magnet. On the back of page 3, we have this cute paper. I put keeping it sunny there. Again, this slides out. You have your photo areas. And for this one, I just added this adorable little sticker that says sunny days ahead. And then you can add your photos or memorabilia here to the back. Okay, let's look at the pages on the right-hand side. Again, we have our little pocket here. I just want to lay in the sand with a book in my hand. And this is a pocket back here. Let's get outside with the little sunglasses and hitting the beach. On the back, we have our page insert. Again, they all look the same, except for the front is where I added pattern paper. Now, you could certainly add more pattern paper if you like, but that's just how I did mine. We have a side pocket here where I've inserted this journal card. I did add white cardstock on the back, so you know you can add a photo there. And again, this just slips right down into our little notch. For the second page, I used my little page lock, which this is in my shop as well. This will become part of the cut file and pattern bundle, but I thought I had this free. I'm not sure. I can't remember. If I do, I'll link that down below, but I do tell you how to recreate this. It's really quite easy, but it's always nice to have a cut file. So anyways, I added one of the loveliest stickers here. I love putting this sticker on this particular page because it kind of looks like the setting sun colors in the background, and I don't know, it just gives you a whole vibe, right? It says good vibes. I put a little tag in the pocket, added another sticker element up there. This page flips up. I added a few sticker elements to the top and these fun elements at the bottom. I love this. It's just so fun. And then our little legs slip into the pocket, and then that goes on the outside. Here is our page insert. I'm not going to pull it out, but for this one, I used one of the 4x6 journal cards. I just cut it down. I mirrored the same design as we did on the left here, using the two Polaroids and my cut file to create this frame so that I could once again tuck in my own photo there. And add a little sticker there. And here is page 3. We have a little waterfall. I used the Polaroids and 3x4 journal cards to create this stack. Here's one of the journal cards. Sweet memories. Again, you add your photos here to the back. I was going to put paper on the little 1/2 inch area here, but I decided not to because you could actually do some journaling there. So I wanted to leave that option. So you could add your photo, do your journaling, you know, lots of room. And then you also have room to journal here next to these beautiful florals. So I love this. Love how this turned out. And on the back side, I cut down one of the 4x4 journal cards to add this to the top, and then some of the water paper at the bottom, so it looks like your picnic table's in front of the water, which is kind of fun, and it says, hit the beach. And that, again, is our page insert. And for this page, I just added this nothing but sunshine sticker at the bottom. You can add your photos right on top of this. What I did here was create two long stacked pockets Because it's summer and you're traveling and there's lots of photos and ephemera that you collect from your trips, this is a perfect place to put them. You can fit 4x6s in there, add your photo to the back of this one. I love this one. And then I also put in a Polaroid and a tag, which is adorable with that soda bottle. And look at this fantastic sticker. Oh, I just loved it. Added another little popsicle. Here's a sticker as well. And this little ice cold lemonade for 50 cents. Just adorable. And in the back, we have 2 more 4x6 journal cards that you can add photos to the back side. So that's what it looks like without anything in there. The back pocket goes all the way down. So all the way down. And then this pocket just is this area here. Okay? Great for all those pieces, parts we collect during the summertime. So that's the album, everyone. I love, love, love how this turned out. It was really just so much fun to create. So I hope you stick around for the tutorial. We'll be creating everything you see here on the inside. Again, I'll have all the links that you need to know for this album design down in the description box. And if you can't stay for the tutorial, thank you for watching my video and following along on my channel. And for those that can stay, let's get started. Now what I've done is gone through and cut out all of the pieces that we need to create the rest of this album. I thought this time around we would go ahead and cut and score and prepare all of our pieces, and then we would just start putting it all together. So that's what we're going to do first. First, we're going to start with the inside left and right cover. And for that, we're going to be creating like a little photo flip like that. So to create this, you're going to need 6 pieces of 5x6.5 cardstock. And this will be the same color of your cover that you already created. We're going to then take these pieces and score on the short side across the top at 1/2 inch. So 3 of these will make one photo flip booklet, okay? You're also going to need 2 pieces of cardstock, and this measures 5.5 inches long by 1.25 inches wide. This is going to be the base for our closure. On the long side, we're going to score at 2 1/8 and 4 3/8. When you fold these, you're going to do it like a S. Typically we say a Z, but we're doing an S fold on this. So the short end will be at the top there. So just fold and burnish those. And actually we probably have more cardstock than we need, but it's okay. I'd rather have more than not enough. And I have 2 of those. And in fact, for this one, I managed to cut it, but I'm still going to use it because what we're going to do is put our magnet on the inside here and just fold this over our magnet. That way we have a nice, clean, covered magnet, okay? So what I just gave you was the materials for the left inside front cover and the right inside cover. Now I'm going to give you the measurements, and we're going to create stacked pockets here in the middle. So for our stacked pockets, you're going to need 1 piece of cardstock that measures 10 by 2. Another one that measures 10 by 2.5, and a third piece of cardstock that measures 10 by 3. Now when I created mine, I'm using the full width of the album, but if you would prefer to cut this down to 9 3/4, you can certainly do that. But I decided it just seems like there's extra space. I did it with the 9 3/4 and there was just, a large amount of extra space here, and I didn't like that. So that's why I went back to the 10 inches wide. So maybe cut one and see if that's the width that you like it at, and if so, then cut the next two. I also made it so where we can cover the back fully. So I'm going to be bringing this all the way down to the edge when I glue this down, and it will actually cover up, my pieces that I have here in the back. Because I found with the white cardstock, I really don't like seeing where my pieces joined. It just was really driving me crazy. So I'm going to be covering that again. So again, if you want to have that kind of border around it, feel free to cut yours down. Okay, so those three pieces are for the middle inside cover, and then we have our left and right inside cover. The next thing I'm going to prepare are the base pages for our album. As you can see, and you may recall, we created 3 hinges to go on each side of our gatefold album. So that's what we'll be creating. Our pages also will have a pocket in the center. To create our base pages, you're going to need 12 pieces of cardstock that measure 4.5 by 7. 2 pieces make 1 page, so that's a total of 6 pages, as I mentioned. So what we're going to do when you have all 12 of your pieces cut out is turn it on the long side across the top, and we're going to score it 1/2 inch. You want to do that for both pieces. Now go ahead and score the rest of yours. I have all of mine done. I'm going to take these and set these aside until we're ready for them. Next, I'm going to give you the information for the page inserts. And this is what they'll look like. They pull right out of there. Please note that I do have them about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the base page on the top and the bottom. I wanted these to be able to get in and out really easily. Okay, it's kind of nice to have an example to show you guys. So to create these, you're going to need 6 pieces of cardstock, and these should measure 8 by 6, and we are going to score on the long side at 4. And you want to do that for each one of your inserts. After you score, really, we're just going to fold and burnish for now. And now our inserts are ready. I have all mine already folded and ready to go. So now I'm going to give you the additional cardstock pieces that I designed to go with each of the base pages. So this first piece is for the first page on the left and the first page on the right. So you're going to need 2 of these, and these measure 4.5 by 3. 4.5 by 3, yep, 2 of these. 1 for the left, 1 for the right. I'm just going to run through these. For page 2 on the left, we're going to do flip outs. That shouldn't be there. And you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 4.5 by 3 3/4. We're going to take these and turn them to the short side across the top and score at 1/2 inch. Score each piece. You'll need 2 of these for the flip outs. These additional pieces are for page 3 on the front of that page on the left hand side. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that measure 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. On the long side, you're going to score each piece at 1/2 inch. You're also going to need another piece of cardstock that measures 4 1/2 by 3, and this will become a pocket. It's going to be on that same page, the front of page 3 on the left, okay? 4 1/2 by 3. Now let's move to the right-hand side. On page 2, you're going to need to cut an additional piece of cardstock, and this measures 10 1/4 by 4. You're going to put the long side across the top and score at 1/2 inch and at 7. The 1/2 inch we fold back on and burnish. And on the 7 inch score line, we're going to fold forward and burnish. This will go on our page like this. This will become a pocket we'll glue down, okay? And here are our last additional pieces. And this is for page 3 on the right-hand side, the front of page 3. You're going to need 5 pieces of cardstock, and these will measure 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. We're going to take these on the long side across the top and score at 1/2 inch. Do that for all of your pieces. You're also going to need 1 piece of cardstock that measures 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. And this will become our closure. Right now, I'm not sure where we're going to score, so I'm just going to leave this as a whole piece until we get to that page, okay? So that is all the additional cardstock pieces that you're going to need to create this project. Okay, we're going to kind of start right back at the beginning again, create with our photo booklets. This is what we're going to be creating for the inside right and left cover. So before we took our 3 pieces, we scored on the short side. Now all we need to do is fold and burnish those. What we're going to do is kind of glue these on top of each other to create the booklet. Just going to use our glitter glue for this. So really what we do is just take our glue then, add it to the outside of the hinge that we just made. I found it's easy to stand these up next to each other. That way you're able to make sure that the sides are lined up, the bottoms are flat, and then just kind of squeeze right here at the top. And then it's even. Okay. We're going to repeat that with our second piece. Stack them all up together, make sure it's all even and flat, and then just pinch that down. And now we have our little booklet. And I showed you earlier how to fold these. This is our closure. So let's go ahead and get this prepared. So for this, you're going to need 2 sets of magnets. So I'm just going to take one of these. Let's try it with this one first. Just going to place my magnet here in the center. Put a little score tape over this side. and then fold that over. Well, I guess I could have put some more glue around there. Now that these are all prepped, let me give you the measurements for the cardstock. Since this is a Gatefold mini album, I decided to duplicate the pattern that I was using on each side of the album. So these two pieces will be the same as these two pieces here. But I'm not a real matchy-matchy kind of individual, and I don't often like to repeat the same page design. But in this album, what I did to make it easy and still look like it was mirroring each other, I did replicate some of the pages on the left and right hand side, but I used different papers. And then on the right hand side, I did a couple things just slightly different so that it would still kind of give it a nod to what was going on the left hand side. And you'll see that as we go along. But I wanted to let you know, I think most people, when they have a gatefold, they match, like these match, the pages match, and you know, I'm a little eclectic, I can't do that. But if you like all of yours to be matchy-matchy, have the same design on this side as this side, then by all means, do you. Okay? So I just wanted you to know that before I dig into all of this. So for our base piece, that's going to go on the base page of the left and right inside cover, you're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper that measure 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. You're going to need 2 pieces of pattern paper that measure 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and this pattern will go on top of our photo booklet like that. Okay, this one will go right on top of our hinge and hide the hinge and onto our page. You're also going to need 6 pieces of cardstock for our closure, and these will measure 2 by 1 1/8. On the left inside cover, I'm going to use one of the photo mats and one of the tags to create kind of a little collage on top of the closure. I think that's going to be really cute. I didn't pick them out for the ones on the right hand side, but I did want to at least show you one side. So we'll do that together. I also wanted to show you this ribbon that was included in my design team package. You know, it probably looked like it went with the collection in the store, but I just do not like these colors with this collection. So I am not going to be using this ribbon. I'll save it for another project. But I wanted to let you know that, because if you do watch the haul to get the materials that I'm using for the project, it will show this ribbon. And I just personally don't think it goes, or maybe it does and it's just not, it's not my aesthetic, or I'm not feeling the vibe. So I'm not going to use it. What I did find in my stash from a prior design team package were these lacy trims from 49 and Market that I got from Country Craft Creations, and I'm going to be using this small lacy one right here for my tags. So I did want you to know that. I also did not use the yellow cardstock that was shown in my haul. It was entirely too bright. You need more like a goldenrod color to go with this collection. Okay, so those are all the pieces. Let's start putting this together. So we're going to add our adhesive on the inside of that hinge, right up to the score line, but don't go over. We're going to take our pattern paper and we're going to lay that right on top. So you take it right up to the score line, but don't go over that again. And you're going to leave about 3/16 of an inch on each end, so it will hang over a little bit. Okay, make sure that folds over nice and easy. Go ahead and burnish that down. Now what we want to do is add our closure. You can bring this piece all the way over to the edge of our album, or you can put it in like 1/8 of an inch or less. The way that I cut this cardstock, again, was so that it would kind of cover more of these lines. I don't know why it is with the white, it bothers me, but with black or other colors, it doesn't bother me. I think it just stands out more with the white. So I cut these pieces larger than I normally would. They are not 1/8 of an inch border around. I think they're 1/16 inch around. I'm not even sure. Yeah, these are 1/16 of an inch all the way around. So if you want yours to have 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch, please, you know, look at it first to see if you like with the measurements I'm giving you, and then cut it down if you don't. So we're going to take our closure, we're just going to add adhesive to the back of this and glue it on in the center here. Again, you can cut this piece down. I just wanted to have more until I absolutely knew how much I needed, but I'm not going to bother to cut it down. And then just line this up. And actually having these lines on here kind of help. Let's see how we did here. And then just burnish that down. Okay, make sure you can fold everything over without it getting caught on anything. So I've recut the cardstock to cover our closure, and these are 2 1/8 by 1 1/8. Again, I like to cover more of the closure when I do it rather than have 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So once again, if you like more of a border, feel free to cut yours down. I just don't prefer that on the closures. I like to have less of the base color cardstock showing through. So let's see. If this is on top, I was trying to figure out if I want the polka dot to show or if I want the solid color, because this is how it's going to kind of look, like that. I think that's a lot of pattern. And I'm thinking the solid, yeah, I think the solid would be better. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Am I doing this right? This goes under here. This goes under here. Okay. Okay. So once we have our one magnet covered, add your magnet to the bottom side of it. And of course, you know, I always put mine on wrong so that the sticky part is never showing. I I use basic gray magnets, by the way. These are my absolute favorite. They're really the only ones I use. Okay, we're just going to fold that over, give it a little push, and now I know where to place the magnet. And now we can add our pattern paper to that. So this is 1/16 of an inch border all the way around. I'm gonna flip this over, add my other color cardstock here. Make sure I got the right piece. Yep. Now we can glue down our flowers. I'm gonna bring this down so I can see it a little bit. It's hard for me to see over it. And my hair is in my eyeballs. Now let's go ahead and add these. The reason why I wanted to stack them is because you could actually then take your own photo and tuck it in here. And I just thought that would be really cute. So just really get these in a placement that you like. I mean, that looks good to me, yeah? I like that layered look. And I'm gonna glue these together right down here at the bottom. And then we'll be gluing them on top of here. So just gonna add about 1 inch worth of glue across the top. How cute is that? Love it. Now let's make our other booklet and then we'll put them into the album. Since I talked through the creation of this one, I'm really just gonna put this one together and let you all see it. But I'm not gonna talk through it. You have all seen me do it. Now, I guess the question is, we have this booklet opening this way. Do we want this booklet opening this way? Or just have it this way? I guess this way. Symmetry and all that. Okay, I've added adhesive to the back side of my little booklet here and page, and I'm going to go ahead and set this down. Now, if you want to add pattern paper to these pages where you can see the hinges or solid color cardstock, you can do that. It would be the same size as the one on the front, okay? So cute. Okay, let's add our back piece now. I think what I'll do is add this adorable little postcard that was in the collection, and so I'm just covering up the area that you could see. And actually I think that's making it a lot stronger. So I may do the same thing on this one. It does make it stronger, more sturdy. I just love all these layers. Now on the back, I'm not tucking anything in here to this one, so I can glue that down fairly good, almost all the way. I am leaving this open so I can put a photo on the front, right? That was the point of that. I know this stands up, but I do like the idea that it goes like this. Okay, enough fiddling. Now what we're going to do is work on this piece here in the middle. Now, as I mentioned, I'm cut these pieces to really fully cover the cover because I don't want to see those lines. I don't like them and I don't want to see them. So I'm going to put the smallest piece down first. I'm just going to glue this all the way down. This was the 2 by 10 piece. Again, you don't have to do that. You could cut these down. And I went all the way across the 10 inches. So I'm putting that at the top. So I don't see the lines. And I can still fold up and over. Now I was going to do all kinds of things back here in the center, but I just thought, you know, if you're on vacation, it's summertime, you might have like brochures or maps or just some ephemera from being out at a new restaurant, and you might want to just stick a little menu in there. So that's why I ended up leaving these as really large stacked pockets. I just thought that would be super fun for summer. For this piece, you're going to need one piece of pattern paper that is 9 3/4 by 1 3/4, just to go right across the top there. Just seeing which way I want my lemons to go. I think I like that. This is going to end up being the back of the pocket. Let's bring out our second largest piece. This is going to get overlapped about 1/4 of an inch. over the piece we just put down. When we glue this down, we're only going to glue it on 3 sides, okay? Because this is going to be the pocket. The way I did this was so that you would have, you know, a nice pocket here and then another pocket down here. I didn't do it to where this would go all the way down. Okay, I think I'm going to change this and only glue it down on 2 sides so that we would be able to put something long in here if we want to. So just add adhesive to each end. Overlap them about 1/4 of an inch. So this is going to get overlapped about 1/4 of an inch. Imagine that's about 1/4 of an inch. If you want to be exact, bring out your ruler. For this piece, you're going to need a pattern piece that is 9 3/4 by 2 1/4. Just lining up my edges here. Make sure that's flat across there when you add it. Oh my gosh, is it flat? I don't know. Now we'll bring in our last piece. This was the 10 by 3. We're going to bring this down right to the edge, and then we'll just let this overlap probably about 1/4 of an inch. So just add adhesive on 3 sides. And our pattern piece to cover that pocket will measure 9 3/4 by 2 3/4. And we could add our 4 by 6s here, and also if you turn them, you can add it there. I love that one, it's so pretty. Okay, so now we have the insides of our album cover done. Next are the pages and inserts. Okay, we're going to start with our pages, and we've already cut our cardstock. We've scored at 1/2 inch on each of our pieces. As I mentioned, you're going to need 2 pieces to make 1 page. So what we do, we take one and we flip this over so the bumpy side is facing us. The other one, the bumpy side, is underneath. We're going to overlap these 2 pieces. However, what I did before that was I actually mitered the corners, and you can see that here specifically. See the difference? I mitered just a little bit off of each side. So let's do that first. Just going to take my scissors right to the end of that score line and just do a slight angle cut. Doesn't have to be a lot. Bumpy side here, we're going to take this one, flip it over to where the bumpy side is, add our adhesive right on that 1/2 inch hinge. Take this, flip it around. So your hinge is over here, hinge here. We're going to line these 2 pieces up together. So your 1/2 inch is going to be on the edge of our other cardstock. All right, we're just matching these up. If you want, you could fold on that score line too. Can't remember how I did it. Oh yeah, that helps. Then you know for sure you've got it. Make sure everything's smooth, all right? For this end, let's fold this back on to the bumpy side and burnish. But don't do anything with that yet. Now we're going to come back inside, and I'm going to use my household tape. And I'm just going to do our little tape trick and tape down over those pieces. So when we go to put our insert in, it won't get stuck on anything. Okay, so get them all ready, just like this. Miter the edges. You want to adhere one mitered end to a non-mitered end. Adhere those together. So when you do that, you then have one mitered hinge and a squared end, right? Because these are going to get closed up together onto our page. Typically what we do is go ahead and finish gluing our two pieces together to make our page with the pocket in the center, right? Then we come in here, we slide this on, and sometimes that can be a little tricky. Well, I was watching Sandy, who is another design team member for Country Craft Creations, and what she did was leave these open. She brought this in and over the end of her hinge, and then she folded this down over it and then glued it together. Like, OMG, that seems so much easier than us gluing it together and trying to get it down over the hinge and lining it up that way. I don't know, I just thought it seemed easier. So I tried one, and this is what I came up with, and it worked out fine. So I thought we would try that again. Now the thing is, well, for me, I'm going to do it to where the hinge is on the top and going over our hinge like this. I don't think I mitered my hinges either. That was the other thing. All right, so let me show you how this works. We're going to add adhesive to the front of our hinge in our album. We bring in our page. We fold this down onto it. So I've only added adhesive to the 1/2 inch part of the hinge. I'm going to bring this down over it. I'm going to fold that over just so I can make sure I've left enough room for it to fold over without any issues. And then fold the rest of this down. I'm going to now check it against this one. I don't know what it is about that one. Okay, that one looks a little bit better. Let's try this way. Okay, let's go with this one. All right. So as you can see, I lined it up right up to the score line, but I didn't go over. And I was able to check it with the page underneath. I'm good to go. I'm going to burnish that. I mean, the important thing for this, when you do it this way, is to fold your hinge over to make sure that there's enough spacing there. So now I'm going to go ahead and add my household tape to the inside here, because I still want to make sure that that's going to work properly. Now I can add adhesive to my hinge. And you want to add adhesive to this 1/2 inch hinge here. Hope my head isn't over the camera or in the way of the camera. Okay, so this can come down. This folds over. Make sure you lay it flat all the way across. Nice flat pocket. Just going to repeat that process on this last hinge. So you see I'm lining it up, the 1/2 inch hinge right at the edge of my page. I bring this one in down here. I fold up the hinge right at the 1/2 inch score line. Because you want to make sure that folds over without any issues. Then I line up the top, the edge of this page with the score line. I fold this over and give it a test run before I glue anything else down. So I fold this back over. When you fold this over, you check to make sure that your page is not going over that score line. And as you can see, it's sitting right at it. So that's good. My other pages all seem to be in alignment here. I did notice that when I go this direction, this one is just slightly off, if you can see that here. So I put that one down probably a little crooked, but these match up really good. So I would say this one is good to go. So I don't know if you think that's easier or not. It seemed like it was, but then I find that I do take probably a little bit more time to put this down just to be accurate as best I can. So I don't know if it's easier or not. It seemed like it. Okay, I'm putting my tape on there. And now I'm going to add my adhesive. Good thing about this is you really get a good permanent seal using the wet adhesive. We're going to fold this down, bring this over. Remember to lay this as flat as possible when you brush it over. And then I let go of the tape area there. You can always open that back up if you need to. And then burnish really good. And then we have a nice little bucket. Okay, now we're going to add our pages to the right-hand side. I actually put one page on already, and then my camera died. So I do have 2 pages left. I thought I would go ahead and share the same process with you that I did on the left-hand side over here. The only difference that I'm doing here is that when I go to put this on, I'm going to put it on with the hinge on the right-hand side onto my page. There's a particular reason why I do that. When you put this on and then put the flap down onto it, you get this really nice edge, and it doesn't look like there's any seams. I don't know if you'll be able to see. So it's just a nice clean edge. When you are on the side where the flap comes down and you're gluing it, you can kind of tell that that's the end of the page. It doesn't like curve around the page. I don't know. It's just something that I noticed, and so that's why I just made sure to put this on the back, because on the front I would like it to at least look nice and clean. So we're going to do the same process here, except we're going to add our adhesive, you know, to the back side of the hinge. So I'm going to go ahead and get this going. Again, just adding adhesive up to the score line, but not going over, because it will spread. Bringing in my page, putting this down over it. First thing I do is wrap this around the bottom. And when I do, you know, I'm just bringing it right to the edge of that score line there. Hope you can see that. And I'm holding that in place and bringing the other part up to it. Okay. And then, like I said, I always like to flip this over to make sure it's looking good. Yeah, look how nice these line up. Did a better job over here. Now we add the adhesive, and the way I'm doing it is right at the edge. So even though we angled cut that, I'm putting the tape beyond where we cut the angle. So here's the angle, but my tape is out here on the edge, just as if it was squared. Again, that's to help our inserts go in smoothly. Pushing that down, bringing this down. Again, make sure you do it as flat as possible, especially over here. I've got my finger on the adhesive tape, and I'm wrapping this down first, and then removing my finger. I don't want the hinge to pop back up while I'm laying this flat. And for our last page here, yep, I did this side so much better than the other side. See, it takes a little practice. Wasn't stressed out over it or nothing. Okay, now we have all of our pages in our album, and we can start decorating. Okay, we're going to start decorating our pages. I'm going to start on the left-hand side on the front of page 1. For this page, you're going to need one piece of pattern paper that is 4.5 by 3 3/4. We're going to put this on the base page at the top. This is going to be a pocket page. I usually give you all the measurements and then glue. I don't know why I'm doing it this way. All right. This will have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around from the measurements that I'm giving you. Now Now here's one of the pieces we previously cut. This measures 4.5 by 3, and this is going to be our front pocket. You're going to add adhesive to 3 sides. This will get glued all the way down to the bottom of our page. So you place this at the score line, do not go over, and line it up with the edge here. I mean, if it goes over a little bit over here, it's okay because we have this 1/4 of an inch area here. So it should be flush here, flush here. For the front of our pocket, you'll need 1 tag, and I did go ahead and add that lace to this. I'm going to use my stapler and just staple this on, I think. I like that. You'll need 1 piece of pattern paper for the back of this pocket because we're going to make another pocket on top. And this piece measures 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And this is just color cardstock that I've been using from Simple Stories. You can select whether or not you want the solid or the dots if you're using the same paper. I think I'm going to go for the solid. And then I used one of the journaling cards that was in this collection, and this measures 3 by 2 3/4 for those that aren't using this collection. Because remember, you can make any of our projects that we share with you in any paper theme. So we glue this one down all the way. You want to do this one first. I'm going to line it up with my paper I have at the top. For the journaling card, I'm going to add adhesive to the top, the bottom, and the back side, so just 3 sides. Just adding a thin line of adhesive so I can get my tag in there. And then I'm going to add this, again lining it up with my pattern piece that I have on top there. And then lining it over this pattern piece, right? So now we have a pocket back here, and we have a little pocket in here. And I'll come back and add more in my pocket. Okay, we're going to move to the back side of this one. So for our base page, we're going to add pattern paper, and the piece measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Now, of course, I couldn't just let that be and use magnets because I wanted to find another way to create a closure without using magnets or brads. So I came up with this notch in the paper idea. So let me kind of tell you how this came about. So I had my page, and I wanted to put the notch in there, and I tried the We Are Makers envelope notch, but it just wasn't going to work out. Then I grabbed a spoon. It was just some ugly spoon I had laying around in my craft supplies. And I took the spoon like this. I just looked for the middle. At the time, I didn't have these marks. I added them afterward. I just kind of looked for the middle of the page, took my spoon, and then I took my knife and I cut around the tip of the spoon. So that's how I did it. In the end, this was 5/8 inches wide, going around the top of the spoon, and the depth was 3/8 inches. And to get it centered, you go in 2 3/4 inches. If you want to try my spoon method at home, those are all the measurements you'll need to do it. So from the top of your page, after you cut out your page, it's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, go down 2 3/4. Let me check this out. Yeah, well, on the cutting machine, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit over 2 3/4. And then use your spoon to cut out your notch. and you're good to go. So of course I made cut files for this to go along with the cut file bundle, and that will be sent out to those that purchase the pre-order, because the pre-order is now closed. But for anyone purchasing moving forward, all of these cut files that I've talked about will be included in the bundle. So even though I know some of you purchase the cut files because I include patterns that you can use by hand, this will be part of that as well. But if you don't want to do either of those options, you can use the spoon method, or you don't have to do the notch method at all. I'm just giving you different options. When our insert is in our pocket and this is glued down on our page, we're going to be able to slip our insert right underneath the notch, and it will keep your insert nice and tidy and closed. You may be worried that once you remove the insert, that you won't be able to easily slide it underneath the notch. Well, first of all, when you have this under the notch over time, it will end up training itself, leaving that additional space. But if it gets pushed down, mine keeps going where it needs to go. But the other idea that I had is that we would maybe add a decorative item on top of the notch with some foam adhesive, so that if we needed to, we could use that to lift up the notch and put that underneath it. So that's my idea for how to keep the notch workable once we glue it all down. Okay, I hope that made sense. So what I'm going to do is glue this down, and when I do, I'm going to glue around the notch, but you want to leave the notch flap, let's say this little flap. You don't want to glue the flap down. You can glue all around it, but not the flap, okay? Now my Cricut did cut into that a little bit, but it's not going to matter because, like I said, we're going to add some decorative elements on top of that. I don't know what they are yet. I haven't figured them out. But that's what I plan to do. So I'm going to take my insert. I'm going to go ahead and add on my pattern piece to this, and this measures 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. Now, because this is a summer album, we're probably going to have lots of photos, right? I did not add any more pattern paper to this. I may do that later, but at this time, that's all I have for the photo booklet or the page insert. You would use the same size that I gave you here if you wanted to add more pattern paper or even colored cardstock in here. That would be the same size. So let's go ahead and put this back in and slip this under. Oh my gosh, so nice and easy. I love that we have this kind of layered look going on here. Fantastic. Oh, we're not done with this one. I got ahead of myself. Okay, for the inside, well, for the base page, we're going to create a little side tuck. You're going to need one piece of solid cardstock that measures 1.5 by 6 1/4, and one pattern piece that measures 1 1/4 by 6. And these pieces will make our side pocket. We glue the pattern piece all the way down to our solid colored cardstock. Now we're going to add adhesive to the top, the bottom, and the back side, again gluing on 3 sides to make our pocket. This is going to get glued on top of our pattern paper. Then we can tuck some items in there if we like. and add our insert again, and it will still go down and over. There we go. Voila. Now we're going to work on the front of page 2. I'm going to run through all of the materials you're going to need and then show you how to put it together. So you'll need one piece of solid color cardstock, or you can use pattern paper, and this should measure 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. This will be the base piece. You'll need our 2 cardstocks that we've already cut, and these measured 4 1/2 by 3 3/4. We had the 1/2 inch score line here, and we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. But I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna open those back up because we're gonna add our pattern paper to it first. Okay, and then for your pattern paper, you're going to need 2 pieces that measure 4 1/4 by 3. So 2 of these. These are going to go at the top and one at the bottom. So we're going to glue these on now that we have one with the hinge at the top, one with the hinge at the bottom. When we glue these down, it's going to go to the top of our page and to the side of our page. It's the full width of our page, which is 4 1/2 by 6 1/2, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So we're going to add adhesive to the back of our hinge and just line it up with the edge and the top. Again, be mindful of the score lines. You could even miter your edges if you want to make sure they don't go over. I think I am going to do that for this one. We'll do the same for this one. Just mitering it a little bit. And adding our adhesive to the back side of that hinge, we can add the bottom one. Again, we're just going to line up the sides and here and here. When these fold down, they should meet right here in the middle. Now we can add our solid color cardstock on top. What I've noticed is that you can see the hinge, even though we're adding our cardstock on top of it. And I don't particularly like that. So I ended up cutting another piece of this solid color cardstock to cover more of the hinge showing. I cut it at 4 3/8, going across 4 3/8. But I did keep the 6 1/4 inch height. I'm going to update the cutting guide and change these flaps so that they're the same size as the solid color cardstock that we're putting down. So these would be 4 1/4 inches wide, the base flip. And then that would also change the size of your pattern paper. Then your pattern piece would be 4 inches by 3. Then that way it'll line up with the piece we're putting in the middle, and you won't have it hanging out on the edge. See? Right there. And you can also add like a border strip here. I mean, there's a way to camouflage it if you've already done it and you don't like that showing. Yeah, there's ways to fix that. Now the way that we're closing this is a little strategic as well. This was a sticker in the collection, and what I did was I put it on that denim blue artisan cardstock, and then I ran it through my scan and cut this out with an offset. The very first one, I think it's like 0.04 or 0.4, I'm not sure. Just a very thin offset going around it. I really like that. And I love the idea of this being on these lines as if it's a road. And then we're going to tuck a tag underneath here that will help keep this closed. We'll add another item up here at the top. So let's go ahead and we're just going to add adhesive down here at the bottom. Okay, so we can put our tag in there and it will hold the other one down. Let's see, is that gonna work the way I think it is? Because then my other idea was to take like this cute little hat, kind of do the same thing I did here, add cardstock to the back so I can glue down part of it and keep part of it unstuck. So then it holds this part. Yeah, that's a little bit better. But I'm going to take this off for now, just so that you know where I'm going with this kind of closure. You can leave these, you know, the way they are for photos to just be added here and here, or you can add stickers or other decoration to it. So that's the front of page 2. Let's go to the back of page 2. Now we're going to work on the back of page 2, and once again we have one of our pages with the notch out, and I must say I did this on the back of all my pages. So you're going to need 6 of these that measure 3 3/4 by 5 3/4 of pattern paper with the notch cut out. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put this one down. You know, when you're gluing this down, make sure your notch has the opening going in the right direction, if you're doing it that way. You could certainly put a magnet under this page and not do the notch. To decorate this page, I loved all the Polaroids that was included in this collection. So I even went as far as to create my own cut file Polaroid, just so that it would match. So in fact, you could take this if you have the bundle and cut it out and then put a nice color Polaroid over the other ones, because I don't particularly like the color of their border on their Polaroids. It just isn't right. So this one fits right over top, and then you can have a nice colorful Polaroid if you wanted to, or you could do a pattern paper over it. Like, how cute is that? But that will be part of the cut files as well. But the main reason I created this was so that we could put one down as just kind of a visual prettiness, and then we take the other one and layer it behind, and now you have a place to put your own photo here. You could also layer these on top of each other, like glue these together down here at the bottom, but leave the sides open. Then when you layer this on the page, you have 2 nice images, but you would still be able to lift this up, put your photo in there, or you could just glue this all the way down and use the cutout piece to trim your photo down to fit right over the spot. So those are my ideas for this. I kind of like the idea of layering it on top of this one so that there's something there. So I think I'm going to go in that direction. We'll see how it works. So I'm just going to add adhesive, thin line right there. And I'm going to leave the sides open so that you can slip a photo in rather than gluing it all down. So you can just slip your photo right in there and it holds it. But of course you'll cut it the right size. Okay? Now this Polaroid size is odd because that's how these were made. They were 2.438 by 3 if you want to make your own. You could also, instead of using the Polaroids, just cut some photo mats, right? So you see it's almost 2.5 inches wide. It's just slightly under by 3. And it's not even all the way to 3. It's just slightly under. So you could do 2.5 by 3 photo mats and put that on there. See, my Polaroid's a little bit bigger, but you want to be able to have that so they can lift it up. I love the idea of this camera here. Could even just do that one straight across. Like they're taking a photo of this, you know? Just come up with these stories in my head. You could make this one a pocket if you wanted to. There's lots of options. Bringing in my page insert, and here I've cut this down. This was 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So again, you'll need 6 of these. That's the last time I'll give that measurement since I've given it 2 times now, and I've turned my page on my cutting guide and can no longer see it. Actually, I don't even know that we need to add decoration to that. This is working out really well. Okay, so that is our second page. Okay, for our third page on the left-hand side, we're doing the front. I'm going to give you all of the pieces parts. You're going to need 1 piece of pattern paper. This is going to be for the base page at the top. This is 4.5 by 3 3/4, your pattern paper. We have our 2 pieces of white cardstock that we previously cut and scored. These are 4.5 by 3 1/4, and then our 1/2 inch score line here on the side. We can fold and burnish. These are going to be flip outs this way and this way. And we have 2 pieces of pattern paper for the fronts of our flip outs, and these measure 4 by 3. Now I cut down one of the journal cards for this one. I can't remember, I think this was a 4 by 4, and I cut that down. And then for this one, I also used a 4 by 4 and cut that one down to the 4 by 3 size that I needed. What I also thought we would do is take this one and add a cut in the paper, since we have these lovely lines going on here, and then make kind of just like a little baby pocket. What I like to do when we cut into the cardstock like this is to actually add adhesive tape on the back side. It just makes for a cleaner cut, I think. So I'm just going to kind of guess where I'm going to be cutting. So I'm going to cut right above the words, I think. So maybe just a little bit more. Just going to cut right at or above that line where the words are on this one. And I may not even cut all the way across. I don't know if it's my blade or what. I do not recommend this knife blade. It's Fiskars. It sucks. That's all I gotta say about that. I need to get one of those Cricut ones that Tamara sells at the store. So I'm cutting off the goobers. I don't know why. My blade must not have been sharp or what. I don't know. I rarely use that thing. Not as seamless as I had hoped. All right, well, that's that. That did not work as well as I wanted it to. But I'm still going with it. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna have this one be on the front. Okay, I'm just gonna glue on my pieces here before we move forward. For this one, you want to glue all but the bottom area, right? So we can glue all of this top piece and the sides. But you want to keep this area here open so you can insert something. Sure, if I ink that up a little bit, it'll be okay. I tried to glue this down and had to pull it back up because I forgot to put my little flips down. So, since we already have a nice little line here that we can use as a gauge, I'm just gonna put this down here, kind of like dry fitting it, right? Like that. Then I'm going to add adhesive to the inside of my hinge. And I forgot to mention the direction. So we have one hinge on the left and one hinge on the right before you put your pattern paper down. So now I'm going to lift this up and put this right at the top of where I'm going to glue down my pattern paper. But what I'm doing is sliding this out so that it comes out to the score line. Hope that makes sense what I'm doing here. I'll show you a little bit more here in a moment. Oh, you know what? Okay, we're just rolling with it. So it's probably about 1/8 of an inch. Yeah. So from our pattern paper at the top, add your flip out about 1/8 of an inch beyond the edge of our pattern paper. Okay, see that? About 1/8 of an inch. When we close this, it will be right where our score line is when we glue it down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take our hinge, add adhesive to the inside. Am I making this hard? I don't know. I hope not. We're going to again add this about 1/8 of an inch out. So we're going to line this side up with the outside of our page and the top of our pattern paper. So when we're done, it will look like this. This is how I'm going to do mine. We're going to have these layered again, that nice layered look at the top. Okay, now we can glue this whole thing down. Nice and smooth here, and it lines up with our score line on this side. Leaving your 1/8 of an inch border at the top. If I made that more difficult than I needed it to be, just add your flaps at the top of your pattern paper, move them out 1/8 of an inch on each side when you put the hinge onto the back side of your pattern paper. And then it should all be lined up. I lined it up with the page just to make sure that it was all going to work. For the bottom of our page, you're going to need the piece we already cut, and this was 4.5 by 3. We're going to add that down here on the bottom and glue this on 3 sides and make a pocket. I'll open this up so you can see it a little bit better. So just add your adhesive to 3 sides. Line it up with the score line over here with the bottom of our page and the right hand side here. To decorate the front of our pocket, you're going to need a pattern piece of paper that measures 4 1/4 by 2 3/4. Now, to keep this closed, I'm going to use a journal card or a tag. I'm just going to stick that one there for right now. It says, "Hello there, sunshine. Bring on the summer." And that's cute saying. Let's flip this. We're going to work on the back of page 3. Again, I have my page with the notch cut out. That is 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Now for this page, I really did not have any decorating mapped out for it, any additional design. So if I do add some, I will definitely be coming back to share that with you. You know, sometimes we don't have to decorate every page. We can leave it for photos because that's what this is for, right? Okay, I'm bringing in one of our inserts. I'm going to add my pattern paper to that. Okay, that is the left side of our album looking good. Now we're going to start decorating our pages on the right hand side of our Gatefold album. We're starting with the top front. What I've done for the designs on this side is I did do a little bit of mirroring. So this design here does get replicated on the right hand side, but I changed up the pattern papers and everything. I'm not really one to do matchy-matchy, and quite frankly, I have a hard time repeating the same pattern paper. I like to use it once and move on to the next pattern paper. So sometimes it's hard for me to continue to use the pattern paper 2 and 3 times in an album. Believe it or not, I know it doesn't make sense, but that is the truth. So for this side, you will see some mirroring going on, but I also did change up a few things to make it interesting. For the top here, we're going to do the same design, our pattern piece. This is way too big. What's going on here? That needs cut down. Oh, I think I was going to do the cutting down after the fact because I wanted to get the sides to be a little bit more even. So I'm going to cut off 1/8 of an inch on each side. So then now they look a little bit better. 4 1/4, 3 3/4. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. And when I lay this down, I do kind of look over to the placement on my other page so that they are, you know, as close as I can get them so that they're level with each other. And we previously cut out our pocket front. That was 4 1/2 by 3. So we can glue this down on 3 sides. Again, we line this up to the edge of our page on the left here and on the bottom. Then it should line up automatically with our score lines. Again, you're going to need a solid piece of cardstock or pattern paper, whatever you like, for the back of our front pocket here. Now, this piece was the perfect size, except for it had this little notch cut out, but I figured it out that it's going to get covered, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. So don't be afraid to use your scraps like that. You know, if there's an imperfection in it, it's okay. If you're covering it up with something else and the majority looks like you want it to, you're good to go. This is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4, if you recall. This was a 3 by 4 journal card, and I cut it down to be 3 by 2 3/4. This one we're going to glue on the top, the bottom, and the left-hand side to make a side pocket. See that? It covers that. You don't even know there was a notch cut out of that cardstock in the bottom. No, dang it, dang it, dang it. You guys were probably telling me. I didn't listen. I wanted to mirror it this way. Now I gotta cut this piece again. You guys. You know what? My head is not in the game right now. Clearly. I know there's probably a better way to do this, but I don't care at the moment. I need to destroy something. I'm hilarious. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put a whole piece down, I think, if I can. I don't know if I have that much of that cardstock left. Oh my gosh, my lights are like roasting me right now. It's all becoming too much. Okay, take 5. Okay, it took a few moments to fix my boo-boo, because what I wanted to do, I hope you got the idea, was to have this mimic this side, but be the opposite, right? Like that. Not like this, which kind of leads your eye off the page, right? Right off the page. So I just cut a full piece instead of trying to conserve this beautiful cardstock. I got to get more of this. I love it. This piece is 4 1/4, 2 3/4. My little journal card here, which I cut down, was 3 by 2 3/4. Just going to go ahead and glue this on first. Let me try and get some of these goobers off here. It's the word of the day. Goobers. Okay. All right. So let's see. I'm going to put my finger where I don't want glue. So you want glue on the top, the bottom, and the right hand side. Okay. Voila. Now we're on the back side of page 1. You will again need one of the page insert bases. I have my pattern paper for that, and my little notch page. We want to flip this around. You want your notch to be on the left hand side. I might start doing more of this notching because I'm loving it. I don't know about you guys. You'll have to let me know what you think. For this side, I am going to mimic what we did over here, and that was to create this side pocket. I did like that. So I again have my solid color cardstock that is 1 1/2 by 6 1/4, and then my pattern piece, which is 1 1/4 by 6. Okay. Again, this gets glued onto the pattern paper. So add your adhesive to the top and the bottom and to the right hand side of your piece. I'm going to glue on my pattern paper. I love this watermelon paper. It's so cute. What I found about this collection is that it had a lot of stripes in it, which really kind of made it a little difficult when mapping out the pages. I wished it would have had like one more flower paper. That would have been fantastic. Or just one that had a different icon on it. Like they could have done more fruit rather than all of these lines. You have the hashtags, you have this sewing line, you know, you have this striped line. Like I love them all, but it was a lot of lines. Even this watermelon paper has, what is that? A plaid, buffalo plaid behind it. So lots of lines. This would be great to mash up with maybe another paper collection from Simple Stories so that it would match. I mean, I still love it though. Okay, so when we're on to this side, remember we've been putting our inserts in this way, right? We're going to flip them around and put them in on the right-hand side. I'll come back and add something for my pocket later. Look at that, just slides right in. Wait. Oh, I don't have enough glue right there. That's what I found. You've got to really make sure when I'm putting this down, because I put my fingers there, I usually end up wiping the glue off with my finger. So you got to make sure you have enough glue there on the side so that it doesn't get caught on our notch. So just make sure you glue that down really well. Okay, let's try this again. Oh my goodness. Glue goobers. And then see, it slips right in. Oh my goodness. I'm not even sure we need to decorate that notch. You know what? I may not do it. Now we're working on the front of page 2 on the right-hand side. You're going to need our piece that we've already prepared. This measured 10 1/4 by 4, and we have 2 score lines, one at 1/2 inch and the other one was at 7 inches. This is getting folded up. It's going to be a pocket here in a moment. And then this is our hinge. That's going to be a flip up pocket, right, on our page. For the base of our page, you're going to need a solid color cardstock, or you can use pattern paper. This measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. See, on this one, I did cut this shorter than the pattern paper. I don't know why I didn't do that with the other one. So actually, this piece is going to reach the top and the bottom of our base page, okay? You'll have about 1/4 of an inch spacing on each side. And then this will go underneath it with an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. So that's how that's going to work. For the pattern paper to decorate the front of our flip up pocket, what I did was cut one full piece of pattern paper. I don't know why I'm liking the numbers with this. Yeah, see, look, another lined paper. Again, I love it, but it's still another lined paper. I don't know who created this, but I really am loving these numbers here. So I cut one large piece, and that was 3 3/4 by 6 1/2, and then I turned it to the long side and I cut it at 3. Yeah. So then this piece goes on the front of our pocket, and this piece goes on the inside. Okay, like that. I do have that information in the cutting guide as well, so we don't forget. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up out of the way and put these pieces on first. I want to make sure I line up my two pieces. So I'm watching the edge here. Now we're just going to add adhesive to the sides of that first flap. If you want to be a little bit more exact in your placement, you could use your ruler. I don't know how well this will work. Let's see. So I'm lining it up to where I have 0 in the center, and actually if you're going from this side, it's at 3 3/4. And that way I can see that I'm placing my piece at the 2 mark here and here. I hope that makes sense. If you have this ruler, it will. I don't know how anybody lives without a Tim Holtz ruler, because this thing is awesome. Okay, I'm going to flip this down and go ahead and add this all the way to the top. Just make sure it's nice and even at the top. Nothing's hanging out where it shouldn't be. Now for this, I could use the polka dotted side. Whoops. To keep this flap closed, I mean, you may not really even need one since we put our hand here to turn the page anyways, but you could use magnets to keep this closed. You could use a paper clip. What I'm going to do is use my page lock mechanism. I introduced this to all of you in my Winterland mini album, and these are easy to create, but of course I created a cut file because I want it to be easier. So to recreate this by hand, you would need a piece that's 1 3/4 by 1 1/2. You could even probably go down to 1 1/4 maybe. 1 1/2 seems like a good size though. And what you do is cut out a rectangle piece on your cardstock. So I went over, so if this is the top of your cardstock, go over 3/8 of an inch, make a tick mark, go over 1/8 of an inch, make a tick mark. Then go all the way over to 1 1/4, make a tick mark, go to 1 3/8, make a tick mark. Turn it to the short side across the top, and you're going to, where you've made those other tick marks, go down and make a tick mark at 1 1/4 inches, which is approximately 1/4 of an inch in from the edge of the cardstock. And then you're just going to cut out that area. I then rounded the corners with the We Are Makers punch, corner punch. I used the 4 millimeter. Now because this is already kind of decorated with the dots, I'm not going to add a pattern piece on top of this, but in my cut file I do provide that. I think I gave this free if I'm not mistaken. So I will include this in with the cut files that go along with this bundle so you'll have it. So what you do is take your shorter legs here and you tuck them into the longer pocket. you bring this longer piece out over this area. So you're kind of just like weaving it, right? Just so that you can see. And then push that all the way in. Now you can decorate this, which I'll probably do. But when we bring up our pages, as you can see here, I gave you the right size so that it doesn't rub up against the left-hand side pages. There's still spacing in between. And then when you turn your page, it just keeps it contained, right? Okay? So that's another way that you can close your page. I may go into more detail on how to cut this in the Winterland tutorial. But now we're going to work on the back of page 2 on the right hand side. We have our base page with the notch, 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. I'll link the Winterland album down below in case you're interested in that and you didn't see it. It was a popular one. For this one, again, I'm going to mirror, which side? I'm going to mirror this side with the Polaroids, just because I love Polaroids. I didn't bring out another thing to go over it. Look how cute. Let me get another one. So I got this whole package of Polaroids. They're super cute. That might be a good one. Oh, that's cute. Kind of liking that. Winner, winner. So, and I think I'll do the same thing I did before by gluing my Polaroid on top of theirs to give it that color. Now I'm going to glue down my piece for this insert, and I got to remember that, you know, the inserts go in like this, so that I'm putting it on the left side and not the right side. Okay, so there's our booklet. Opens like this. So we do have our little page lock there, but there is still plenty of room to insert our little booklet. And oh, that's the first one that didn't open on its own. Interesting. It'll be better now. Okay. The last page. Woo! Yes. Okay, we're going to work on the last page. What I'm going to do is flip and do the back side of page 3 first, because there's lots of parts for the front. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add my pattern piece to the back of page 3 on the right hand side. I love this ice cream paper. It's so cute. See, I think they just could have done another icon paper like this, and it would have been even a better collection, because I really do like it. And then we have our little notch. There we go. Okay. Our last insert. Make sure it's opening this way. I'm telling myself. Don't be offended. I'm telling myself. For this one, I wanted to do something a little different, again, because of all the stripes. I was getting sick of the stripes. I took one of the, I think this is a 4x4. And I cut this down to be 3 3/4 by 4. And then I cut some of the water paper because, you know, like a picnic table sitting in front of the water, right? I'm gonna make a little scene. This is 3 3/4 by 1 3/4. And that will be our decoration for our booklet. Now, if you want, you can just put a solid pattern piece here. You already have the measurements for that, so you could just do that if you don't want to piece these together. Now, when doing this, because it is water, you just want to make sure you have the ripples, right, going in the right direction, because that doesn't look right. It looks like a bird. So you want to make sure the points are at the top, if I'm not mistaken. Who knows at this point? And then just butt those two pieces up together, and you are good to go. It's like you're at a park, sitting by the water, watching the little birdies. And we can just put this in our pocket. And there we go. To pop these out, really all you have to do is push on this side, and then you see it lifts up. And there we go. Like I said, it'll get a little bit trained with it sitting in there. It'll open up. Okay. Now we're going to work on the front of the third page on the right. For the base page, you're going to need one piece that measures 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. We're going to create a little waterfall. And I think I gave you these white cardstock pieces earlier, or at least I hope. So you needed 5 pieces of cardstock, and these measured 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. And on the long side, we scored at 1/2 inch. You then need 5 journal cards or Polaroids, and these will all measure 3 by 4. These will be our decorative pieces to go on top of our waterfall. We're going to need a set of magnets, and this piece here is part of the closure. So I think I gave you this as well, but just in case, 1 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now this may be bigger than we need, but I'm just making sure we have enough. And then again, 2 of these solid color cardstocks that are 1 1/8 by 4 3/8. 2 of these to go on the front and back of this piece. But again, we're going to wait to see what size we actually need before we glue these particular pieces down. So what we can do so far is to glue down our pattern paper for our base page. Now I already have these in the order that I want, but I'll show you real quick. And then I'm going to be gluing these on top first before we put the waterfall pieces onto our page. Now this is your traditional waterfall with the 1/2 inch spacing in between each page. gatefold and burnish. So I'm just going to flip that over, bring in our next one. Now we're ready to start putting these down. When we go to do that, you're going to go all the way to the top of the page. Probably about 1/2 inch on each side. So it's a little bit more than that if you want to, again, use a ruler to try and get it as close to accurate as you can. We're just going to add adhesive to the back side of our hinge. So again, it is slightly over 1/2 inch. So right there. So I'm putting it right here. So that was at the 2 3/8 mark, if you go by the numbers on the bottom here. Okay. If that helps, I don't know. Just make sure it's all level here at the top. And go ahead and put that down and burnish. And then we just kind of repeat that process all the way down. We're just going to add adhesive to the back of our 1/2 inch hinge. We're going to butt up these two hinges together. Right like this. Trying to maintain that nice clean line. And repeat. Okay, now that we have our waterfall pieces on, of course, I once again forgot about the magnet that we need to add. So I've come up with a creative way to do this. You're going to need to cut another piece of pattern paper, or I used a 4x4 journal card, and I cut this down to be 3 1/4 by 3 7/8. That will go right here. Just butting it up with the hinge that's already there. I left a little bit open here because we want to put our closure in there, right? So we can put our magnet underneath here and hide that. And then, you know, we usually take our closure and fold it up over our top piece, but I don't want to do that because I want to see the whole image. So I thought, well, we'll add our magnet to the back side. Now, to do that, I'm going to use this little Summer Lovin' journal card that was part of the collection. This is about 3 by 1. I've added my magnet already. And I'm going to glue this down at the top of this page and give it an 1/8 inch border on the 3 sides. This way you can still put a good, maybe 3 by 3. Yeah, you could put a 3 by 3 in there or smaller. So it was like it was meant to be that way. So I just plunked my magnet on there in the middle somewhere. I'm going to put this on first. before we do everything else. Because that will help with the placement. Okay. How do I get glue on the opposite side? It's amazing. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll come down here. Well, I guess we'll add our magnet. And of course, I did it the wrong way. OMG. Now the way I want to do this is how? We could make this to be about 1 inch as well. I'm gonna just wing it, y'all. Just winging it. Just gonna put this down on top of it. Gonna center it the best I can, right to the end of that journal card. Yeah, that looks good. Let's put this in its place, but don't glue it down yet. I guess I can use my scoring tool. What I'm doing now is just creasing that along the end of that journal card so I know where to fold this. So that is at 3 1/8 inches in on the long side. So we do have a large amount here. You could cut some of that off. So the final piece is about 4 3/8. You could even go to 4 1/4. I know y'all hate the 8ths by 1 1/4. Okay. Now for this, I'm going to bring out my ruler. I'm going to once again line that up. I'm going to add adhesive to the underside. So this is what our closure looks like an L. So we're going to add adhesive to the bottom of the L. And I'm going to center that as best I can. I'm going to add it to the pattern paper. And that's at the 5/8 inch mark right here. If you have this ruler. Here's the 0, go 5/8. Or I guess I could tell you the other way. From the end of the pattern paper, the edge, it's about 1 1/2 inch in. Now we can add our pattern paper. So what we need here, what did I say this was? 3 1/8. So we need 2 7/8. So I'm going to cut these down to be 2 7/8 by 1 1/8. And now we can glue down this last piece. And there we have it, folks. Okay, so I went offline and I did some additional decorating, and mainly just with stickers. So I didn't do any really new techniques except for one, and I thought I would come back on and share that with you. So for the flips on the inside covers, if you recall, we had the visualization of the hinge here, and I wanted to camouflage that, but I didn't really want to put more pattern paper or solid color cardstock on top of this. I thought it was a waste because you're going to add photos there anyways. So I came up with this idea of creating this like little border and gluing it on top of the hinge. Now I'm only adding glue to the hinge area, so when you are in this area, you can still tuck things just right underneath there. The way that I did the little border edge here was wide enough to cover the hinge, make it decorative, and leave a tuck spot. So I'm loving how I did that, and I just wanted to come back and share that with you all. Now I used a, I think it was a Fisker's punch. I could be wrong, I'm not sure. But it had this little decorative edge, like little scallops. I started out with a piece of cardstock that was 3/4 of an inch wide. And then I, did my border punch, or edge punch, sorry. And it then comes out to just a little bit over 5/8 of an inch. If I look at my trusty ruler, it's probably 11/16 of an inch wide, but that's because of the punch that I used. So, you could really make yours as wide as you want. If you want a nice wide one, you can do that, but I wanted it to just cover the hinge area that was showing. And then, just by osmosis, it happened that if I didn't glue the whole thing down all the way, I would still be able to tuck something under there, and I just love that. So I just wanted to come back on and share that with you. So that's what I'm going to do here. Just add my adhesive to the hinge area in between the cut edge and the score line. And I made these pieces 6.5 inches long as our little booklet was. This collection does have some fantastic stickers. I must say that I did enjoy using the stickers. So overall, this was really a fun collection to work with. I'm just putting the edge piece right up to the score line, but make sure it still folds without any interference. There you go. Another thing that I did was create this fun little item here in my back pocket, and that is a little cell phone. This measures 2 by 3 3/4. And of course, I created cut files to go along with this. There will be patterns in the bundle as well. So what you get is this front cover. You get the back cover here. And then I also did a back cover that has the slot cut out of it. So if you wanted to make this a tag, you could turn it into a tag. It would just be really cute to have a cell phone tag, I think. So I have those 3 pieces to go along for the cell phone. And then what I did here was I just cut out this image from one of the tags, and I used this solid image to cut it out on my Cricut. And so then I just glued those all together, making my little cell phone. Now, of course, you can cut these in any color that you want. I like the black. I think there's a lot of color going on. A nice little black would be good. So I am loving that. So that is the album. I hope that you have enjoyed creating this with me. I really have loved doing it because I tried some new techniques in here, which I've shared with you. And I hope you'll give it a try. If you do, please share photos. I love to see what you guys create. It's so fun to see. And I hope you will check out the cut file and pattern bundle that gives you the cutting guide for all of this. And I look forward to crafting with you again. So I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.